get here. Welcome back to CWM and University, and today we're going to go inside the classroom and interview real people with real experiences. Come on. Yeah, you. Come on. I said come on. Welcome back to this episode of Inside the Classroom, and today we have Akia, an assistant principal at the high school, and we're going to get her perspective of inside the classroom. Currently, you're an assistant principal for the high school, but for our viewers, you cannot just get out of school and be directly a principal. You have to have some type of background in education. So give us a little information about your background, how it led you from straight out of college to being assistant principal at the high school.
I wanted to be an elementary teacher originally.
Why you work with the baby?
I did. I was always indecisive about what I wanted to do growing up, but I always knew like I loved working with kids. You asked me to choose what to eat, where to go, I don't know nothing, but I knew I wanted to work with kids. I got into education. I don't know how I'm at high school because I didn't even want to teach middle school, and that's where I ended up first was middle school. And we had a middle school college course, and I don't need this class because I'm not teaching middle school. Like who? I don't. First job was given to me by one of my my teacher and your coach. She would always tell me, "Let me know when you're done, when you graduate, I got a job for you." And I'm like, "Girl, I ain't coming to middle school.
I'm not gonna work with y'all
ever." When I came out, I interviewed there. I don't know, everything kind of just fit, and so I knew I had a job for the next school year. I taught 6th grade math for a few years. Then I decided to go to grad school for educational leadership. And then I moved to a different school at that time because it was closer to my program at UT Austin. I taught 6th grade world cultures. I did some leadership opportunities. Long story short, once I finally jumped into admin, I still was at the middle school level. And then during COVID, I got to Dallas and then I started at an elementary school. So again, remember, I wanted to be at elementary all along. And then all these years, I'd never touched elementary. So I came here. I was like, oh, okay, this will be a cool experience. But also now I'm an AP. So I was there for not even the full year because I got promoted to a middle school within the district.
Got to Dallas, went to elementary just for a little bit. Got promoted to middle school. How long did you stay as an AP in middle school?
So before I came to Dallas, I was an AP for 2 years or 2 school years in the Houston area, then came to Dallas and I was there for a school year in Dallas. And then I got promoted to a middle school from that school. And I was at that school for 5 years. And then now I'm at high school.
All right, so you've done elementary, middle school, and high school as assistant principal. Which level do you feel like right now that you like the best and why?
I probably like middle school more, but I think, and that's so crazy considering I never wanted to touch it, but most of my career was based in middle school, so I'm like super comfortable, confident with it. I feel like the kids, they understand structure, they need structure, and so I'm a very organized structure person, and so you're able to build relationships with them and connect with them. You can kind of talk a little silly to them, a little crazy to them, and they get it. Versus the elementary, they're a little more babyish, and also I just
more sensitive.
Yes, and I didn't spend enough time there. And while I was there, because it was COVID at the elementary, I felt teachers had more responsibility of their classrooms. And at this school particularly, I know it's not like that everywhere. And so I just felt like I wasn't as useful, like I wasn't as needed. But also it was COVID, so they had classrooms where they're teaching online with some kids from the house. Some kids are here. We're already like social distancing still. So that probably impacted my experience also. But I would say middle school for sure. High school has been cool. This is my first year to high school. They're very similar because I work mostly with the freshmen. Like I get to deal with all grade levels, but I work mostly like with freshmen.
So they fresh out of middle school.
Oh my goodness. Straight out of middle school, acting like straight out of middle school.
So we talked about your experience, where you've been from a teacher all the way to being an AP. But why did you become an educator? Why did you want to start teaching in elementary? Because since that was going to be your jam, what led you into that?
Or I was a shy kid growing up, very quiet, very just do what I'm supposed to do, trying not to cause any problems, very indecisive about everything. But I always knew I wanted to work with kids. I just didn't know if that was like, oh, I want to be a pediatrician, I want to be a doctor. You know, you go to the doctor, they giving out candy and stickers and stuff. I want to do that. I always helping my cousins babysit their kids. It was just my comfort space. And so I always knew I wanted to work with kids. I had certain educators in my life that kind of helped encourage me. And at one point, I think I was like, I want to be a cosmetologist. And my superintendent, because, you know, I'm from a little small town, was, I feel like you can do better. Like, he knew I was smart. And not that you can't be a, you know,
a smart cosmetologist, but
because now, I mean, the money they're making, I might have should have went that route. I wanted to push me more like educationally. And I knew I wanted to work in the education field. And then because I didn't have a ton of opportunities growing up, especially coming from a small town, I wanted to give back the way that people gave importance to me.
Oh, that's awesome. Being a teacher gave you maybe like the stepping stones to become an assistant principal. But how do you feel like years that you spent as a teacher help prepare you for things that you face now as an assistant principal?
I think the most important thing is not forgetting where you came from and like, you're literally just in that position. Just being human. When I started going to prepare to be an assistant principal, I didn't initially want to be an assistant principal because I didn't want to be in a position for power. But there's a need for people who are humble and want to make an impact, like truthfully. I think having that as my foundation and wanting to be a fair and consistent leader has helped me moving from the classroom to the admin role.
So you knew what you were looking for in an assistant principal. If I'm going to become an assistant principal, this is what I would need as a teacher. So let me go be there for somebody else.
Right.
Because good assistant principals, just like good teachers matter, good assistant principals matter.
Right.
Leave us a comment below if you have a good assistant principals and what are some qualities that you like about your assistant principals at your school. Creating relationships as an assistant principal has to be a little different than being in the classroom with kids all day. So how do you intentionally make sure that the students know who you are, make sure that you're building that rapport with them, and also your staff? What are some things that you have done to make sure that happens?
For me, it's very important to just be open, be communicative. So with staff, having time to sit and talk with them, like even if it's just about their personal life or their kids, just being there and being an active listener. People like to feel heard and seen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Being available. When it comes to like culture, I love doing things for people, doing things for kids, motivating them. So it's kind of the same thing like in the classroom, like translated over, like what are your interests? So we do like interest forms and stuff at the beginning of the year, but like intentionally use them. Like right now I'm planning Teacher Appreciation Week and being so extra about it because they care. You know, people want to be appreciated and feel heard and seen. When it comes to the kids though, especially as an assistant principal, you know, we're dealing with discipline and things like that. So I never try to get in power struggles with them, even if they're being super disrespectful, which is not often because they have a relationship, but there's times where they crashing out, giving them a moment or okay, well, you sit there for a minute until you're ready to talk and we can talk in a little bit, or just like making them realize like, I didn't do anything to you. Did I say something to you? Did I disrespect
Did I offend you?
Right.
Let me know.
And then they usually are like, dang, like, no, okay, well, you'll have your cool down period and we can talk after that to get to the bottom of whatever this issue is. But just treating them like they're human and not like somebody that's not important. And then I have like lunch duty and things like that. So I get to kind of hang out with them and just laugh or chit chat. And what are y'all doing? No, y'all work? You work today? Well, you know, just kind of care about
school,
their
they got work.
Yeah,
they got to make their
like,
money.
I get so surprised. Like every time I turn, I'm like, oh, you got to go to work? Where you work at? Oh, Champs, can I get a discount? I need a shoe. Get a shoe. They're like, come on, miss.
I like how you said a couple things. One, if a student comes in your office and they're upset because they got in trouble, let me let you calm down. Because I'm leaving my ego at the door. I know it's not about me. I'm gonna give you some time, calm down, and we can actually have a civil conversation. And then also you mentioned that with your teachers, you have interest forms. You try to use them throughout the year to make sure that they feel seen, they feel heard. And for Teacher Appreciation Week, she's talking about something. She's gonna be a little extra. She's like over the top, balloons at the top. Everybody got a cute little bag. It's theme matching. When she goes all out, she goes all out. But teachers need to know that they're appreciated, and that's one of the ways that you can show that because you will want that as a teacher as well.
For sure, for sure. Especially a lot of good teachers, like you don't really get a lot of appreciation. You're not really looking for it either, and so sometimes it's just nice to be seen.
Thank you. Yeah, you see me, but it's still nice for somebody to say thank you.
Yeah,
that you're doing your job. Also, happy Teacher Appreciation Week. I'm not sure when this video will drop, but we appreciate the teachers and the APs as well. What are some ways that you contact parents, and when you talk to parents, how do you approach that? Do you just be like, hey, Johnny acting the fool today, come get them? Or like, how do you go about that?
So my form of communication has changed from a teacher to an admin. Like when I was a teacher, depending on what it was, like if I was just trying to keep consistent communication about, oh, progress reports and grades, like I would create a script and the kids would come and they would communicate with their parents themselves and say,
we're not gonna run past that. A script. What you mean? So give us an example. She said she creates a script to put the responsibility back in the student's hand, and you tell your parent about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell the viewers a little bit about it.
So it would be like a script that's like, hey, mom, this is Johnny. I'm here with Miss Powell. We're calling you to discuss my grades. I currently am missing 2 assignments. I'm going to bring my progress report home to be signed. That was one. If it was a behavior situation, it would be like, I'm sitting here with Miss Powell. I'm calling because X, Y, and Z. And they knew when they came to my desk that script was there. the phone was there and we're on speakerphone and we're calling the parents and talking to them about it. They need to hear from them. And then I'm always, okay, let's talk about it first. We go through everything, we investigate whatever the situation is, whether it's grades, issue, and we're going to get to the bottom of it before we call parents. When it comes to things like that in the classroom, that's how I really would handle things.
What made you do that? What made you take that responsibility and put it back on the students?
I mean, I think it's important. This has to do with you. Like, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, this is your mom, your dad. Like, they care about you. You call them and tell them what's going on.
I'm responsible for my actions.
Yes.
And now I need to tell them what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it just means so much more than instead of like me waiting till later, I'm going to call. Then they're like, well, what did he do? Or why did they do this? Hey, they're right here right now. Like, we can all talk right now.
And then it helps students learn because they're growing, they're learning that I'm responsible for my actions. I'm responsible for reporting for my actions. Nobody's gonna go tell on me. I'm gonna tell it because I did it. Cut out confusion.
Right. No, seriously.
And when you got confusion, it's chaotic. Let us know in the comments if you've ever used a script for your students to call their parents to discuss grades or behavior. Let us know what you think about that.
With communication, like now as an administrator, again, they still are in my office when we're having these conversations. I have to get the full story. Usually it's discipline now, not grades. That's more of like a counseling thing or teacher thing. We still can make those calls, but usually it's dealing with discipline. And so they're in my office. I make sure I have the full story. I need the full story. So then there's no, I didn't. They'll do that. Like, I'm like, what? No, tell them the truth. I make sure I have the full story. And I'm like, hey, this is Ms. Powell. This high school, I'm calling to let you know. Or I'll say, they're going to let you know what happened. Or usually now it's kind of like, let me tell you what happened, and then they can give you more details about who, what, when, where, outside of what I'm allowed to speak to them about. At high school, it's a lot easier. They know who their kids are, and it's just, do you need me to pick them up, or I'm coming, like,
what's
you want
the
them gone for it? Yeah. And like middle school, elementary, it's a little different where they kind of want to plead more, and like, my kid would never do that. Well,
have you met your kid? Because I have.
Again, let me let him tell you what happened. I already did all the investigating. There's no lying here right now.
Let me talk to the student. Let's get this story together. You let me know what happened, then we're gonna call home and see how we're gonna mediate.
Yeah. So that's kind of just like how the communication works when it comes to things like that. But as far as like building relationships with them, just being consistent when you see them at parent conferences and things like that, and not always calling about something terrible. Like, so like I have this one kid now, and she had a really rough start to the year, had to be arrested, like came back, and she's not perfect at all, but so much better. So when we see her guardian, she's doing so well, and they appreciate that.
The parents appreciate that, for sure. And the kids. Yes. Like, hey, since principal called today, and she said XYZ, so now you got bonus points with the kids, you got bonus points with the parents. Right. So hopefully we can mitigate some of these behaviors and they stop happening because they want that positive feedback. Yes. Exactly.
And then when it's like a high needs situation, like if the parent is super involved and the kid needs attention or support, then I'll offer my personal number. And that's not something we like to do at all. But like there's a situation where I've had to be like, here's my personal number. Whenever you need something, you call me. And she was super grateful for it and just having that access. And
that support. Somebody else cares about this child as much as I do. And they want them to succeed as much as I do.
Right.
So now it's a team. Right. It's always a team effort. Keep the parents involved, keep them communicate with them, because the parents 99% of the time want the best for the child, and they want to help you help that child succeed. So as an educator, which if you're an educator, you know this, we wear many hats, and sometimes we're asked to do positions that we weren't hired to do. You know that little clause that say that you will do anything they say to do? At some point, you were the testing coordinator and the assistant principal. How did that happen? But most importantly, what did you learn about yourself during that time? Because you were wearing two hats.
And that's just that school year. Two of the big hats.
Big hats, right. There's not many the little things that you got pulled into. But those are two big things. Like testing coordinator.
Right.
Like
at a middle school.
Yes. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So at my previous school, I was there for, like I said, 5 years. The previous year before I became the testing coordinator, we had a lot of like testing irregularities.
Don't want that.
Do not want that. Like so legal, so keep your certification, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we had a need for a whole revamp, right? Because we had district people involved, people losing their jobs or being moved to other campuses. The following year, we received a new principal. Of course, he's hearing about like all the things that I'm capable of doing. I've been the AP there, like I know the campus, I'm organized, all these things. So naturally, he's like, I need you to head up testing coordinator.
That's how they do. They start smiling at you and they be like, this is what I need from you.
Yeah. Okay, do I get like a little stipend or something?
Need the stipend?
And they said no. They said No. You know,
Duties
they don't
as
like to pay
assigned.
APs little additional supplemental pay. They don't.
So they barely want to pay teachers
They
a
don't.
stipend. So
It's crazy.
pay teachers more and the APs. Come on now.
Please, life
Okay.
is getting expensive. Please. Being the testing coordinator, it actually was right up my alley, truth
Oh
be
yeah, for
told.
sure. For sure.
As far as like being organized, thinking about all the details, thinking about everyone's place and role in like the planning and coordinating was really perfect for my brain. And honestly, like I killed it when I did it. Like it was so perfect. Like literally the new testing coordinator there, she literally called me the other day and I didn't even work with her. She replaced me when I left. She's like, Miss Bell, can I talk to you about testing? Like I have a couple questions. I'm like, okay, girl, call me. You know, she's like, I was like, this woman is so organized. I said, period. I'm glad I could be of help. I had built like a team of people to support like the testing, and it just ran so smoothly. Everybody knew what their expectations were. I had like a kind of lead person under me that could help like run things, so I'm not running around when I need to be in the room making sure things are running, things are on. It was a lot. But again, having the mindset to like, okay, how does this affect everyone and what do I need to do to make sure each person, a student, a parent, the teacher, office staff, like everyone is being communicated with and understands the plan. How does that look for me? Like, oh, if I'm a kid, how do I know where my testing room is? So like literally thought of everything.
Like the big picture overall. And the thing is, you built a system. You knew the system worked. You left that school, but you left the system behind, making sure that the next person didn't have to rebuild something. They had a positive experience. And they called you like, hey, appreciate it. You've seen classroom management as a teacher, but now you could go in classroom after classroom and classroom as an AP. So if you had to tell our viewers what good classroom management looks like, how would you describe that?
Classroom management is so much fun. It's hard because I know how I was as a teacher and what I expected and what I did classroom management wise. And so I kind of like to see that from my teachers, even if it looks a little different. Again, structure and organization are like the keywords today, but it's so important to have structure and to like build relationships, to motivate them. You can see that easily when you have like a clear plan. Students are aware of expectations and they're able to follow those. And like even as a teacher, some of the things I would do is like ticket systems and like rewards, and again, always asking, what do you like? What do you want? You know,
getting the students' input.
Yes. And it's so important because if you're gonna give me a pencil and I don't care about no pencil, then I don't care about whatever, you know, your little reward.
Right. If your reward is a pencil and I hate pencils, what we doing?
You know, like, oh, you want some Takis? Okay, I can get you some Takis.
Yeah. So how do you know a classroom has good management? How do you know if I walk into that classroom, oh, this teacher has good classroom management? What are the signs that you can see?
I mean, first of all, just an organized room. Like you can walk in, the kid, like if I'm a brand new kid coming into the classroom, I can see what I'm supposed to be doing, where things are. I think a good classroom management starts with just like structure and organization, period. The best is when kids are able to take ownership of their own behaviors, their own routines, and like the teacher doesn't have to do much. If a sub comes in, it's like, oh, we already know who's in charge, who's doing what, making sure papers are being passed out. Like you have student voice, student choice, and it's obvious because things are just flowing smoothly and you don't even have to think about it. It's not like something I'm trying to force, you know?
Yeah, it's not stressful and you just see the students get up, they already know what's next. They got their jobs assigned and they know how to move throughout the classroom.
Yep. And it's not you being frazzled trying to do everything and the kids chit-chatting and there's so much there can't be downtime, you know?
Like, yes. So like cut that out. Yeah. And that what also leads to teacher burnout. Right. When you're trying to control every single thing in your classroom, you have to put those responsibilities back on your student. Your classroom needs to be student ran and you're just a facilitator. If you want to keep going to work every day and not being so stressed out, you have to put that back on us.
Literally makes your life so much easier.
Yes. And it's funner for the kids because they have a voice. They're like, this is what I like to see. This is why I have fun in your classroom. And you're listening to them and you're making it enjoyable. Right. It's like the auntie house that you used to go over to have your favorite snacks, take you to the park. Right. Like, I want to go over there because we're doing things that I like. Right. Now, she don't play. I know I can't go over there acting a fool, but we're going to have a good time.
Right. And then you think about like your difficult students, the ones that can't sit down or what, instead of like fussing at them or allowing them to act a fool. Hey, Johnny, come pass out these papers for me real quick, or can you
give them a task? Give them purpose. Students need purpose for sure.
And then they begging to help.
Yes. Like, oh man, if I do this today, can I do this? Or if I'm good all week, can I be the person that pass out the test? They start making goals for themselves.
Exactly.
Without you even have to do it.
Exactly. Also, just knowing like how much work teachers put into what they do, even if you're, you know, not the strongest teacher. Like we work so hard. Everybody works so hard. So ensuring like you're putting some of that back onto the kids. Like you shouldn't have to do everything. You know what I mean? Like
not everything. And I feel like that's something they really don't teach you in school. It's just something that you learn by either talking to other educators or you just learn from experience. Like, hey, I can't do all this.
Right.
I have to allow my students to take part.
Right. And then you think about like one of the things that was important to me, like as a teacher, was I'm up here, I prepared this lesson, I have to teach it 6 times today. Like I don't like to talk that much anyway, so when I talk, it's about to be with purpose. And you think you're about to go to the bathroom in the middle of my absolutely not. You know what I mean? Like or you just got released to do work. Miss, I gotta go to the bathroom. And it's usually the kids who don't need to be leaving to go nowhere.
Avoidance.
Hey, can you do 3 questions first? Before you know it, they done forgot they had to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. They done.
Like,
oh, you still have the bathroom? Oh, no.
Yeah, take pride in like the work that you've prepared, the work that you're doing. I'm talking. You should not be like, this is important. What I gotta say right now. I don't work hard to prepare this little lesson.
You gonna get this lesson today. From your perspective, if you have to give teachers advice, top 3 things you need in your classroom to make sure your students stay out of my office. Because a lot of behaviors can be handled in the classroom with proper systems in place. Top 3 things that you think, hey, if you have this, this, and this, more than likely your students won't be in my office.
Okay, I think one thing for sure is